When it comes to his promise to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico, President Trump is claiming success.
Well, we did it just like I said we would, and we had it out years and years before they thought it was possible. When I took office, we inherited a broken, dysfunctional, and open border. Everybody was pouring in at will, working alongside the heroes in this great outdoor space, looking at our wall. We reformed our immigration system and achieved the most secure southern border in U.S. history. It is at a level that it's never been before.
NBCNews.com political reporter Jane Timm joins us now. So, Jane, the president made what sounded like a bit of a victory speech in Texas yesterday as he marked the completion of 450 miles of border wall. Let's be clear, the president has had some success in this regard, but is it really what he promised?
You know, it was really interesting to hear him saying exactly as I said we would, just as I promised. I kept my promises. Now, he, of course, has built a lot of miles of wall, but it's really not what we heard on the campaign trail. When we went all across the country talking about this border wall, it was sort of the centerpiece. It was shorthand for the Trump presidential bid, build the wall. He said it would be 1,000 miles, and he said it would be concrete. He was convinced it had to be concrete for many, many months of this campaign. Once he got into office, he started saying, you know, maybe that steel bollard design might be better. He spent millions doing prototypes to sort of debut the Trump wall. The Customs and Border Patrol found all of those prototypes breachable. And in the end, the Trump administration has built 453 miles of wall. Now, most of that is new primary wall. But I should be clear, in places where there already was wall that Trump had often complained about as being too flimsy. So a lot of it was sort of reinforcement of existing barriers and replacing dilapidated barriers. Just 47 miles of the border wall is actually border wall where there was none. So where Trump went was a half-mile stretch that's new in the Alamo area. But there's been border wall in that area for decades. And he used the steel bollard design that President Obama had used, that past administrations had used, because as it turns out, a cement wall really doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the border.
Now, Jane, we all remember 4 or 5 years ago at the president's rallies, he would say, who's paying for the wall? And the crowd would shout, Mexico. We sort of know what's happened in the years since. So what did happen? Where do things stand with who's paying for this wall?
You and I are paying for this wall, Joe. Taxpayers paid for this wall.
And even there's been controversy over where that money is coming from, right, in the budget?
Of course. So they've been going back and forth about whether or not they can pull that money from the military. They say they've allocated. CBP told me yesterday they've allocated $15 billion for this border wall production. Of course, that's also far more than President Trump said it would cost. He said it's early in the campaign, it would cost $8 billion, and Mexico would pay for it. He was still saying then. Of course, by the time he got into office, he said maybe Mexico will reimburse us. He has said on rallies since on the 2020 campaign trail that Mexico is reimbursing, America, but there is no evidence of that. Taxpayers are absolutely paying for this border wall.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.